AM 1240 and 95.3 FM, WJON. Each month I check in with Gail Cruikshank, Talent Director, Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation. Gail, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Love coming in every month.
All right, so today we're talking about childcare, which is certainly a big consideration for people with young kids when they're deciding where they're going to work and how they're going to make it work.
Absolutely, it is. And it's just it really got intensified through the pandemic, but really was an issue long before that. But really what it's amounting to is we are missing a lot of people from the workforce because they can't find quality childcare. And so think of all those great minds, those great supports to you as an employer or to our community, because it just doesn't make financial sense for them to either pay childcare, but even more importantly, can they find it? So it's certainly been an issue that we, meaning GSDC, along with a number of community folks, are really looking to try and make a difference. We've got employers that are very engaged in helping find solutions. United Way has been leading the way with, they have created information on their website. They actually have funded a position specifically to focus on childcare. So lots of things happening, but again, unfortunately, nothing happens quickly when you're talking about federal laws and that sort of thing.
Right, so it does take a little while. So what can they do to help these employees out? And do you see employees that say, I can't work there because of the childcare situation?
For employers, I would say the number one thing that you can be doing, and we've talked about this before, but having quality conversations with your employees. So you know if they're having a challenge, and then you can somewhat determine, is this an issue that I need to look at for my organization? Because a lot of companies will say, well, Gail, we don't hear that from our employees. Well, then my first question is, have you asked? Because a lot of times they don't feel that it makes a difference or that you as an employer would consider it. So really just finding out who has a challenge with daycare, childcare, and then getting them together to help find a solution that works for your company, because not every company, the answer is open up a childcare within my space. Some employers have done that, but that doesn't make sense for everyone. Some people just give an extra amount on those employees' paychecks because they know they are paying those huge astronomical childcare fees each week. And unfortunately, it hits that youngest workforce, which has the least amount of revenue to utilize,
Right.
And then they're having the biggest bills to take place. And to answer your question, yes, I know employees have either not accepted a job or left a company if they aren't able to work out some childcare opportunities. In fact, through a survey we had done, 24% of parents either declined a job offer or don't work or, left the company because of childcare challenges, that they couldn't find care or it wasn't financially workable for them.
I think other times we've had this discussion about childcare is when we've discussed hybrid or work at home options.
Right.
And there's becoming less of those, correct?
There is. I think there's still, hybrid is here to stay. But I think you're continually hearing a few more employers that want to bring their employees back into the office. But a lot of them are also saying, even if you come into the office for whatever number of days of week it is, if it's 3 days a week and then you can work from home 2 days, that sort of thing. But even beyond that, I really challenge if people can, work from home knowing their kiddos are at home. I mean, because you can't give the kiddos the attention they need and the development they need, but also try and be productive at your work. So you still need some sort of care. And God bless those people that have family that close that can, extend some of that care for folks. But we're just trying to increase the amount of options. So any employee, any family can choose between, do they want to be home care, family child care, or do they want to be a center-based, or do they want to do a different option, that sort of thing. where we're so different from the Twin Cities is they are very heavily center based. So then obviously there's more spots. I mean, granted, they still have issues, but it's in St. Cloud area, we're so heavily home care or family care. And so many of those individuals are leaving that job. Obviously, it's high burnout, it's low pay. Yes, they get a lot of fulfillment with making a difference in kids' lives, but it's hard work, and they're not doing it for the money.
Well, and probably longer hours too.
Right.
Because you've got to be open early enough so then the person working can drop them off before they go to work.
Exactly.
And then they're going to pick them up after they're done with work. So I'm sure we're talking about before 7.
Yeah, your house becomes, overthrown by childcare stuff. So again, some families, bless them, they do that and they do it incredibly well. But again, those type of folks are becoming less and less. And so one of the things we're looking at doing is, could we find a location where maybe 4 childcare providers could all work out of the same space, and then they don't each have to have their own kitchen, their own this, their own that, and they can share services and share a lot of the expenses. But that takes, say, an empty building that somebody is willing to, either donate or really reduce rental rate for, so they're not spending all that money on the building. They can spend it on the kids in the program.
Right. So you're talking about, empty spaces, which we do have.
We have a few of those.
We have a few of those, and we oftentimes talk about solutions to how do we fill these empty spaces. But this could be an option where, maybe we could fill them with kids and daycare.
Right. I know. We've always joked, well, there's room at the mall. They could each have their own at a little specialty shop. I mean, obviously we talk about the Herberger space downtown. Lots of opportunities. It does just take those right people to get together to talk about how can we make this work. And that's what's exciting. We do have a lot of very engaged people that want to help. Ryan Cross, who is president and CEO of BCI, has been engaged in this work for since inception. And because, again, he sees the need, he's wants to be a part of the solution. And so we've got a number of employers like that do want to make a difference, but sometimes they just wonder how. And so there's lots of different things you can do. I mean, even if your organization doesn't have a challenge with this need, can you provide funding for, again, our greater St. Cloud work as that you want to help contribute? There's lots of ways that you can be a part of it. And really, Sarah Hagan, who is the childcare coordinator at United Way, is kind of our point person. And we, love to funnel things to her. And then she is focused on getting the right people together. GSDC is certainly very invested in this work as well, because it certainly speaks to workforce, which is kind of my gig.
Right. Yeah. So solutions is what you're looking for to try to solve this issue. Is this even a bigger concern, considering it's still been a job seeker market? We've discussed this for quite a few years now, that employers need to try to make themselves attractive to job seekers. You want to get these people in the workforce if you can. If childcare is that barrier, like you said, try to solve that barrier to get those people working. And for an employer, if you could do that, and you can do it for multiple individuals, you could really kind of put yourself ahead.
You can, and you, again, would fall into that employer of choice category, which we've talked about numerous times. This is something that's an attraction. And even as we talk with a lot of our developers in town, as they are looking at people to take over spaces or people to come to the region, it's, what is your education like in the community? And do you have a childcare challenge? Do you have childcare resources? Because employers don't want to bring their business here if they know that's going to be a challenge to them. Yeah. So definitely it's a huge problem that we need to continue to work to solve, at least bits and pieces of it, because it's an attraction piece. I mean, it's something that you as an employer can use as a recruitment tool. You can use it as a retention tool. You can, again, it creates that camaraderie and support of your people. within your organization, and then they're able to stay with you, grow with you, and then obviously contribute to your company's success.
Do you know if other communities our size are doing something that's working for them?
There is a lot of different things going on, and each city is kind of, again, having conversations, finding out what the biggest challenges are, and then really trying to identify where can they best support. And also DEED, the Department of Education, I always say this wrong, Employment and Economic Development, is giving a lot of money towards childcare and childcare solutions. The Initiative Foundation, again, very engaged in this work. They are receiving lots of funding to deploy out to groups that are, have that childcare solution. So there is anything from people taking an empty building, converting it to childcare center and opening it up that way. There is what we call pod models, like I had mentioned, where there might be 4, childcare providers together. There's people going into churches and utilizing that space because, again, Monday through Friday, that building might be kind of quiet. And so we've even had centers which are interested in coming to our region, which is super exciting because the need is there. It's always going to be there. We are 5,300 childcare slots short in our greater St. Cloud area. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
And
Yeah.
you just think if those people that have those kids could be in the workforce, look what benefit that would give to all of our employers.
Yeah, for sure. And give them an opportunity to make more money. Certainly better for
Exactly.
those younger families that are typically having the young kids.
Exactly. And they want the opportunity to contribute, and their ideas need to be shared. And so if they're given opportunity, maybe it's a flexible schedule, maybe it's just a little bit unique schedule. Many companies have that flexibility if you need to leave early or adjust your schedule. So as an employer, just look at that. And I challenge each employer in our community, do a survey of your people if you haven't, and just ask if childcare is a challenge. I mean, and if you're interested and don't want to create the survey, I have an example of one that I'd be more than willing to share with employers if you want to just reach out to me directly.
If people do want to find out more about this or just to find out about the jobs that are available in the St. Cloud area, what can they do?
Well, to reach out to myself or Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation, you just simply go to greaterstcloud.com. And then to find out more on childcare specifically and this toolkit that I mentioned that United Way has put together, you can find that on our website, the Greater St. Cloud website, as well as the United Way website. And then as far as a job seeker, if you are looking for jobs, Greater St. Cloud Job Spot, which sits within St. Cloud Shines, which is stcloudshines.com, highlights all the jobs available in our region. I looked this morning and there is 6,200 jobs available right now. Again, that's all non-commutable within our 3 counties. So lots of opportunities, and many of our employers are doing great things in the child care arena to help support those families.
Very good. Gail, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. That's Gail Cruikshank, Talent Director, Greater St. Cloud Development Corporation. It's been our Get a Job segment here on WJON. Thanks for listening. News from ABC is next.